Poor Al.
All right, good morning, folks. The 9:30 hour has arrived. I want to welcome you to the August 16th, 2018 meeting of the Lebanon County Commissioners. And as is customary, we will begin with a moment of silence. Thank you. Please join me now in the pledge to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, he's hiding out, okay.
I thought he was one of the athletes.
No, I'm beyond that phase in
All
life,
right.
believe me.
We come to our public comment period, and at the top of the list is our Back at the Gap representative, Dave Weisnick. Dave, welcome.
Commissioners, thank you for having us. Dave Weisnick for the Back at the Gap update. As of the 14th of August, we have exceeded by 8,000 troops the number of personnel we had last year. And we still have another 2 months left on the federal fiscal year, so well on our way, I'm sure, to be the busiest National Guard training site in the United States. With that said, even this time of the summer, things are supposedly winding down between the 27th of August and the 2nd of September, which is Labor Day weekend. We're still going to have over 2,000 troops training on the 40 Gap. And immediately after the Labor Day weekend, we're going to go back up to 5,500. So very significant, a lot of use, a lot of people staying busy out there, a lot of people employed. A lot of construction, as you know, going on the Gap right now, various sundry projects. Sal, you'll be happy to know, other than our special aviation event the other night that went on into the wee hours of the morning, we appreciate the neighbors' patronage on the noise. No big boom training for the rest of the month. We'll have the schedule when I come back again for the September firing. One thing I want to do start giving people heads up on is our access control for the installation. The construction for the gatehouse on the Lickdale side is going to kick off fairly soon. I'll give you a more definitive date. That requires some permitting that hasn't come through officially yet. It will come. With that said, there will be signage that we're working with PennDOT, diverting trucks away from coming on board the Gap from the Lickdale exit. It'll be well signed to go around to what we call the West Gate, which is up close to the VA cemetery. There'll be detour signs up to get local traffic on around that without a whole lot of convenience.
And where will it start then?
Right about, if you're familiar with the Gap, which I know you are, commissioners, it is right at a tributary of Indiantown Run and Alice's alterations.
Yeah, okay.
So that will be the point. There'll be a designated place to turn around any errant trucks that come that way. It's already been worked out with PennDOT that if there's an accident on the splits, where before they used to divert them around through our avenues on the Gap, the official designated detour is going to be getting off at 81 at the Lickdale exit, go to 72 and around to 22 that way. So working hard at all that. We just want to reiterate that the Gap will still be open. We are just controlling the access to it because it's for safety's sake. We want to know who's coming to visit us. So, pending any of your questions, that's all I have.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. It's nice to finally make it to the meeting.
Would you please state your name
My name is Charlie Lanza,
And-
Frontline Media.
and your address?
I live in Harrisburg. Jamie has my address. I had an incident here February 15th where I came to actually come to your meeting, and I was going to ask you some questions about the First Amendment because I was interested in free press because I do all kinds of stories. Unfortunately, an officer, Brad Safer, decided to attack me and throw me headfirst into the concrete. I'm not gonna harp on that whole thing. I had to have surgery for my wrist and everything like that. But, Lebanon, as I've gone through the building and I've been to the courthouse and everything, there's a lot of, I like the slogans, or should we say little epitaphs that we have on the wall, and I think they're very insightful. Like one of them is the knowledge, the no certainty of the law is the safety of all. And we have a lot of quotes around here that really have great meaning about the democracy we have in this country. And I just think there's things going on in this country that just seem to be like out of control. There was an incident at Point Pleasant Beach in New Jersey recently on the 10th of August, where they passed an ordinance in that city where you cannot film on the boardwalk, on the beach, or anything. That's how outrageous that is. And so I think we need to step back and look, and public photography is not illegal. We live in a society of free press. We need to hold government accountable. That is the stepping stone of democracy, to report news things so everyone knows what's going on and there's no secrecy. So I'd just like to say I'm really glad to finally meet you guys, and I hope when I was coming here before, that when you pass any kind of ordinance or a law, that you look at the Constitution, that it follows the Constitution and it parallels that, so that you're not making up, some kind of ordinance that's completely off kilter like they did at Pleasant Beach. So I'd just like to say thanks, and I'm glad I'm here. And I'd like to talk to this person over here about the Army Depot, or I would like to know some things about, I'm interested in the equipment that you have there. Just, I love the airplanes and tanks, and I hear the bombs going off all the time, so I think it's very interesting, so.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come in and share with us, and I will say that, the three of us obviously have taken an oath to uphold both the Pennsylvania and the federal Constitution. That's very high on our list, and we certainly believe in free speech and photography. We have a commissioner that's a full-time photographer, part-time commissioner, so we're used to that. So we see that all the time, and we're exposed to it, so, and have no problem with it. So I appreciate you coming in, and certainly I got your message, I think, and I called you back and talked to you, I think the day after the incident. So we won't turn our backs on you. We're here to support free speech.
It's good to hear. Well, and again, nice to finally meet you guys, and I've run into Joe Ellen before at different events that she probably doesn't remember.
Well, you have the same occupation.
Yeah. A little bit. All right.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, then I'll accept a motion for approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the last meeting. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next on our program is something special, and listen, could we have you guys come to every meeting? Because it certainly is nice to have a gallery full of smiling faces. How much would that cost us?
Just gotta keep winning.
Every other Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, we are pleased to have with us Teener ball team and the coach. Coach, do you want to come forward and tell us a little bit about the experience and what has happened?
Sure. My name's Ted Allwine. It's nice to see you guys in this kind of capacity. Just a little bit about this group here. So often you hear so much of the bad and negativity about today's youth. This group that sits behind me totally dispels that stereotype of what today's youth is about. Some of these kids play together, throughout the season on their own teams. Majority of them mesh together, and the bonds that they form that quickly are something they're going to remember the rest of their life. It's not even about how they went up there and won like that. I saw some special things with this group, and the community of Huntington, where we played our state tournament at, fell in love with this group. They really did. They couldn't tell us that until after the tournament. But guys, you left a mark with that community up there, just with the class and respect you conducted yourselves with. And that's something to be commended. Just from the little things where you guys pitched in, helping during rain delays when you weren't called upon, to the respect you showed the VFW commissioners up there when they were telling you their stories, to just the overall respect you gave even their concession stand workers up there. Everything was nothing but positive with this group, and I think that they should be applauded for that situation, and I appreciate that you guys are recognizing them for this. There's just countless. We have 2 kids back here that don't know how to swim, and we had a pool party recently, and now you're dealing with 15 and 16-year-old kids here where a lot of teasing and stuff goes on, and this group would not allow those 2 to not enjoy and partake in that, so they were having them jump in the pool with the rest of them, and they saw one of them struggle, someone would swim out, grab them, encourage them, or even teach them how to swim. I mean, it's something so simple like that, that they just did naturally and instinctively. It was just great to see. So, I mean, my hat's off to this group. They deserve every kudo and accomplishment they get going forward. And I just hope you guys build off of this, not just as a ball player, but as a person in general, and continue to grow and lead your community and help out, and just bring the rest of your peers along with you. Don't follow the peer pressure of today and get into trouble. I had a joke about earlier, don't go up to the 3rd floor. I don't want to see any of you up there. I don't want to see mug shots in the papers. I don't want to see you guys getting into trouble with the law. So, and you guys are on the right steps. So I appreciate that, and pretty much all I have. I mean, great little kids, they really are.
We're, as commissioners, we're very involved in the correctional facility and justice in the community, and we certainly don't want to have any of them as tenants somewhere down the line, and I'm sure that won't happen. So thank you very much for first of all, for your service for coaching these boys, because they follow the example of the folks that lead them. Do you have assistant coaches?
One of them's back here, Scott Hargan back here, the Lebanon hat, and my other 3 had to work today.
That's good. That's good.
And to show you the dedication of that group, now, we found about this fairly recently, about we were gonna be doing this and stuff. Every kid, or man, I will say, is here today, with the exception of 1 that's on vacation, 2 that has football obligations, and the last one is working. So every other kid got themselves up this morning, which is hard for someone at that age, made sure that they were here and available to you guys. So I think it says a lot about their dedication. So much bad is on in the world today, and this is something good we get to see.
Well, I must say that a lot of this stuff doesn't happen by accident, and I see great support from the family here,
Yes.
the parents and other relatives, and that expression of support is vital to keeping kids on the right path. So it's not an accident that they're doing so well with this kind of support, and that's really heartwarming for me to see that as a parent myself and so on. But it's just good to have everybody here for such a good cause and honoring the good work that they've done. So it's all good. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to say thank you for joining us today. It is really a pleasure to be able to congratulate each and every one of you for the accomplishment that you've attained. To not quit, to pursue even when things don't look good, and to finish, much less winning, is an accomplishment. You all have a spirit, you all have the gut, the winning gut, to be able to accomplish great things. I'm gonna have to fend this guy off because he's always looking for people like you that are willing to stand up and do the right thing. I don't know if he has a recruiting license or not, but whatever you do in life, you're going to be winners because of this experience, because you know you can do it. It's not somebody telling you you can do it. You know deep down, if you are kind, if you are respectful, if you work hard, and you don't give up, you can do anything you want. And I'm expecting to hear from all of you as you accomplish what you set out to do. Good luck. And coach, parents, thumbs up to all of you. You're all terrific for encouraging these young men and for staying with them the entire time and just letting them know that they have it and they can do it. You too are to be commended. Thank you.
So we have certificates for each of the players.
Okay.
Some commissioners will present. Could you just take a moment though and talk about the season or talk about the championship and
Sure.
tell us a little bit of a comeback story, I guess?
Yeah, so it was in Huntington, PA, where we only got a little bit. We played our area tournament here, and this group of kids played well. They didn't lose a game, played well the whole way through that. We go to the state tournament, and it's about a 2-hour ride, I guess we took up there. And I'll attribute this to it. There's two things that happened caused us to lose our first game. A bunch of the kids were playing blitzball, which is a form of wiffle ball. I think that affected them greatly. Secondly, I don't like to normally single out one player losing a game, but Lewis, you lost that game for us. Well, when I tell you this, we had a little mascot that we carried here throughout our season. We had a little Jobu doll, for those who've seen the movie Major League. And he failed to bring him with for that game. So I didn't find that out until afterwards. I thought it was just poor coaching. We're gonna blame that on him. But we did it, we put ourselves in the loser bracket immediately, lost that first game. And that's when this team kicked it into overdrive and did what they do best and supported themselves, came through with clutch, timely hits, well defensively played, and most of all, like, they never once got down on themselves. And Coach Scott back here can back me on that. You're playing with a group of all-star kids here. Everybody wants to play. There were numerous times where I would sub a kid in or out, and not once did I hear any kind of feedback as to why can't I play, I should be the one in here. Never once. I would go, hey, blah, blah, blah is batting for you. Sounds good, coach. And he'd be the first one there cheering that group on. So that's what kind of camaraderie, I believe, is what led to them winning that state title up there. The fact that it was no me and that team, it was all about us. They supported each other. They've won many games. And as we started getting that train rolling, we started joking about one more domino to fall. Kept playing a game of dominoes with this group, and 6 games over 3 days is a pretty impressive feat for any team to do. And for them to do that and start winning those games fairly handily towards the end was pretty impressive. And on a side note, and I don't normally like to bring any of this. It was extremely special for myself to get to do this. I had my son play with me this year, so to win a state title with my son was pretty special.
Which one's your son?
Mr. Wing over here.
Hi, ooh, very impressive.
What made it incredibly special, my other assistant coach, his son plays on the team, Julian. Coach Scott back here, 27 years, first state title he's ever won.
Aw.
My third and first base coach were father-son. First state title they got to win. So it was almost like it was meant to be how that came to fruition. It was just something special. I told the group of parents that are here to support us that they were a special group, and to be able to have them come through and deliver and prove me correct was just the way it should have ended. It really was.
What do you say to this group when they're down? What did you tell them after that first game?
I just told them they could do it. You know, I wanted, the main thing is they're kids, and I wanted them to enjoy the experience that they had. So there was no yelling, no saying you guys did terrible. It was just, hey, one more game, now we're just gonna have to do it the hard way. And like Coach Scott back here said, he goes, hey, this is gonna make for a much better story.
It really did.
Yeah, there wasn't a real need for picking-ups here and there and stuff, you know. The kids did a phenomenal job of encouraging themselves throughout that tournament. I was just a puppet head there. This group did everything for me. They did everything they needed to do, and that's what I said. It's just a good group of kids. And I know people say that when you're winning, but I said that about that group before they started winning, and that's when you know things make a difference.
Any home runs in the game?
Only against us. One against us.
You really did do it the hard way.
A couple of our kids were trying for them, but never quite happened. But hey, we put the runs up when we needed to and stuff. So it was, including our MVP back here, who was, you know anything about baseball, to go 15 hits out of 23 at bats is pretty impressive. With a combined footage of 85 feet.
10 points.
It was, phenomenal group. I know I keep repeating myself, but phenomenal group of kids. And I'm sure the parents and people that saw it too can kind of agree with that. You know, not just because their child is playing, but they've commented on how well the rest of the group gets along.
Well, we're certainly proud as a county and as county commissioners, proud of what you've accomplished. So appreciate you coming here and sharing your.
Reading those off.
Sure thing. Here's the good part. Now I'm off the spotlight. All right, let's see who we got here. First one, Albert Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
Albert, shake your hand. Congratulations.
You're gonna have to put up with us now.
Scott Hargan. Scorekeeper. Special to get to see him win this title.
Thank you, Scott. Congratulations.
Just like we planned it.
Always have a plan, gentlemen.
Those are my coaches. Lance Modernis.
Congratulations, Lance.
Mr. MVP himself, Cameron Freeman. I know this isn't as special because you don't get to celebrate it with the love of your life, but Jeremy Seifert. I'm kind of glad that this one's not here. No, I'm just joking. Nick LaFoe.
That looks like an all-star shirt.
It's a nice shirt.
Good Nate. Nate Brightbill. This one hurts. Jobu Lewis Pinales. Don't hurt yourself coming up here. Derek Perez.
Derek, congratulations.
Very special.
Keep her talking to a minimum, Ronnie Cabrera.
You can walk in the microphone.
Juicy, Julian Coleman. Come on. You're not awake. Braden Allwine. Mr. Blaine. Here, and Bad Nate,
Bad
Nate
Nate.
Fortes. He came back from a vacation early to get
Nate,
here too.
congratulations.
I think that's what we got. The other couple are not here right now. Those ones, and then my assistant coaches, so.
We didn't miss it.
You guys all made Lebanon County
I
proud.
think you got,
Thank
all of you
you.
got one?
Thank you very much.
My name for the cameras. What would you like, Mr. Commissioner? What do you need? I don't shoot some tiny. Oh, you want me to read off the names?
Oh, the ones that are not here.
Okay, sure. The ones that aren't here are Raylan Pena, Frito, phenomenal pitcher. Zach Dahmer Grumbine. Josh Spiro, probably the class clown that was on that group there as the lifeguard. Then Jeremy Junior Bors. Mom basically photographed the entire thing, so we didn't get it all on live action film with all those pictures. It's pretty much strung together as such. And I have some assistant coaches here. Jared Coleman, Julian's father, and then Brad and Greg Kreiser, my first and third base coaches. Like I said, unfortunately, they're at work right now, but I appreciate all of you that did it. Thank you guys for recognizing them. It means a lot. The community accepts of what they did and honors it and stuff. If you drive up through Lebanon, Mr. Freeman here was pretty much instrumental in getting that done, but we have a lot of the businesses here. We're more than happy to put signs up on the boards throughout Holman Park, Ace Hardware, Laudernups Meats, the mall has one up now, Eversol, Rita's Ice, and Dairy Queen and Hallmeyer, I know for sure, and Extreme Electronics, give them a little shout out for them too. So, all those groups had it out for them, so I appreciate everything everyone's done for us.
To let you know what kind of company you keep, the last sporting person I can remember that we honored here that actually came to a meeting or the facility here was Olympian Jamie Gray, and there was another Olympian, she got many a bronze, I can't think of her name right now, but that was very special, so you guys, maybe you'll make it to the Olympics one day.
Well, don't forget the little people that got you there.
Yeah, then come back.
Most of them
All
are
right.
special.
Is that what you have for us?
That's it.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. Hopefully this doesn't tarnish our spirit meeting, but I think some of us are gonna exit stage left here.
we understand
that.
But you guys are more than welcome to stay if you like.
You can stay, guys, it's like
entirely up to
watching
you.
paint dry.
I gotta get back to work, so that's entirely up to you guys, so thanks, everybody, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben, Ben.
Back to work. Come, yes, guy gotta go back to work.
Go, boo!
I know, don't they though? They really do.
All right, we have our treasurer's report.
Morning, Sally.
Okay, we had receipts of August the 14th and 15th, $193,497.93. Brought us to a total cash of $3,201,794.84. Our expenditures this week were $1,102,974.56. Our undistributed tax claim is $41,365.05. So we have a balance of $2,057,455.23.
Any motion? Second.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Thank you.
Morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Michelle Aegis, Director of Human Resources. Leanne Shank, Human Resources Assistant.
By the way, before you get started, great radio ad.
You like that?
Really good job. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And personnel transactions under resignations and terminations, we have Michelle Long, Volunteer Resource Coordinator for Area Agency on Aging, resignation effective August 31st.
Should that be retirement?
No, she has 18 years. Jay Arenas, full-time correctional officer trainee, resignation effective August 1st. Travis Davis, full-time correctional officer, resignation effective August 8th. Alyssa Suesta, DJ clerk, resignation effective August 16th. Wendy Bartle, DJ clerk, termination effective August 13th. Bonnie Warner, accounting clerk C, termination effective August 10th. Miles Kaufman, assistant public defender, resignation effective August 16th. Erica Snyder, full-time developmental assistant at Renova, termination effective August 9th. And Tiffany Greenaway, part-time developmental assistant at Renova, removal effective August 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept those resignations and terminations. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Moving on to changes of status, transfers, and promotions. We have Brian T. Alexander, change of status from full-time correctional officer trainee at the prison to full-time correctional officer at the rate of $14.50 per hour effective August 26th. And we have Zachary Sohoka, change of status for full-time correctional officer trainee at the prison to full-time correctional officer at the rate of $14.50 effective August 26th.
Also moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve those changes of status. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They're accepted.
Under other transactions, President Judge Towalk would like to hire Mary Haig as a DJ clerk at the rate of $777.68 biweekly effective August 20th. And President Judge Towalk would like to hire Madeline Morrissey as a DJ clerk at the rate of $777.68 biweekly effective August 20th. And the Renova Center would like to hire Shane Flogger as a full-time developmental assistant at the rate of $11.56 per hour with 45-cent shift differential effective August 27th.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to accept those hirings. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Moving on to salary board, motion to accept all the transactions previously read plus the following. I have a start date correction for Tricia Slayback as an imaging clerk in domestic relations. Her hiring date should be August 16th. Brandon Franklin, incremental increase, full-time correctional officer at the prison at the rate of $15.08 effective August 26th. Corey McKinley, incremental increase, full-time correctional officer at the prison to the rate of $15.08 effective August 26th. Jonathan Medina, incremental increase, full-time correctional officer at the prison to the rate of $15.08 effective August 26th. Adam Philippi, incremental increase, full-time correctional officer at the prison to the rate of $15.08 effective August 26th.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept those salary board changes as indicated. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Under mandated conference seminars, I have Jody Lloyd from Children and Youth would like to attend the following 4 trainings. The core process in Mechanicsburg, September 7th, with mileage, meals, tools reimbursement, 6 credits mandated by DHS. Assessing safety in out-of-home care, Mechanicsburg, September 12th and 13th, with mileage, meals, tools reimbursement, 12 credits mandated by DHS. Out-of-home placement and permanency planning in Mechanicsburg, September 18th, 19th, and 20th. Mileage, meals, tools reimbursement, 18 credits mandated by DHS. And making permanent connections in Mechanicsburg, September 26th. Mileage, meals, tools reimbursement, 6 credits mandated by DHS. Keith Smith from Children and Youth would like to attend the Sex, Drugs, Dual Companion Training in Mechanicsburg, September 18th and 19th. Mileage, meals, tools reimbursement, 12 credits mandated by DHS. Karen Torrenegra Castillo and Morgan McMahon from Children and Youth would like to attend the investigative interviewing in child sexual abuse cases in Mechanicsburg, September 18th and 19th. Mileage, meals, tools reimbursement, 12 credits mandated by DHS. Catherine Hirons and Crystal Layton from District Attorney's Office would like to attend the DUI Association Ignition Interlock Program in York, August 14th. 4 credits mandated by DUI Association. Abby Casper, Danielle Gray, Kim Shaw, Brandy Poole, Brianna Rayner, Kayla Conyers, and Rhonda Schopp from MHIDEI would like to attend the 2018 Fall Service Coordination Training in Harrisburg, October 2nd. Mileage reimbursement, 5 credits mandated by Ocdel. Samantha Chesney, Travis Smart, Chris Fry from Probation Services would like to attend Advanced Fundamentals of Handgun Marksmanship in Harrisburg, December 12th. Meals reimbursement, 8 credits mandated by PBPP and Firearms Education and Training Commission. Dwight Penberth and Matthew Klein from Probation Services would like to attend Professional Reading Skills in Shippensburg, September 6th. $350 total registration fee with meals reimbursement, 6 credits mandated by JCJC. And Jamie Deshawn from Probation Services would like to attend the following 2 trainings. Advanced Firearms Wounded Officer Training in Lancaster, October 25th. Meals reimbursement, 8 credits mandated by Firearms Education and Training Commission. Also, the Advanced Firearms Course 8 in Lancaster, November 16th. Meals reimbursement, 8 credits mandated by Firearms Education and Training Commission. Dawn Hooten and John Ryder from Probation Services would like to attend the Suicide Prevention Training in Orfield, September 5th. Meals reimbursement, 2 credits mandated by JCJC.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve attendance at all the mandated conferences as read. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Under requested, I have Carol Davies from Area Agency on Aging would like to attend the P4A quarterly meeting in Gettysburg, September 12th and 13th. $232 total registration fee with mileage, parking, and tolls reimbursement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second for Carol Davies to attend the requested conference. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Jocelyn Statham from MHIDEI would like to attend the Project Challenge Homeless Summit in Lebanon, September 14th with mileage reimbursement.
Move to approve.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to attend the requested homeless conference. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
And Michael Anderson from Road of Registration would like to attend the election roundtable with Senator Fulmer in Harrisburg, September 5th with mileage, meals, and parking reimbursement.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second for Michael to attend the voter seminar. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, ladies.
Morning, Ward.
Morning, Warren.
Morning, Danielle.
Do you mind if I set the stage on the grant that's being given by people or what the word came from?
You were instrumental in making that happen, right?
Yes, he's always
It's
in
under the
the
board. So the Pennsylvania County Risk Pool, which is the county's insurance carrier, decided about 2 years ago to do grants to member counties, which there are 43 member counties in Pennsylvania, for a tracking systems in Pennsylvania counties, prisons that are members of people again, for risk control effort. And the reason it's a risk control or risk or loss control effort is because so often there are when an incident happens or there's reason to go back and track accountability or something, there are sometimes discrepancies in human reports where they'll put down a date or a time that doesn't exactly line up with maybe what a previous report or what a video camera may have shown, that sort of thing. So there are products on the market, and in this case there are 3 vendors to choose from that provide these tracking systems in various forms. So essentially, Pennsylvania County Risk Pool decided that they would grant the funds to each county, each member county, to purchase that kind of a tracking system for their prison. Gave until I think May of 2019 to get something in place to go through the process and vet these different vendors. That's what the warden has been doing, and why he's here today to make a recommendation to you. Danielle's here because there's an IT component to this as well, because obviously anything that you're going to be tracking and doing it nationwide is going to involve technology. So I just wanted to let you know that the funding is coming from being a member of Pennsylvania County Risk Pool, and that's one of the benefits. So, there you go.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners, for having me. Again, Warden Robert Carnes from Lebanon County Correctional Facility, Daniel Oak from the county's ITS Director. As Jamie has alluded to, and we've been soliciting 4 tracking system companies or vendors that provide this technology. And essentially what it is, it's a radio frequency ID number, which will ID system, which what it does is essentially tells us who's where and basically why they're there, as well as it provides a means of tracking for correctional staff for our current logging system, which it's all manual. What the system does is it authenticates the information and provides a credible authentication as opposed to just an officer's ability to track an inmate's behavior or movement and putting it on paper. And this has been a topic of concern for actually the last year and a half, 2 years within other county facilities and my counterparts. And this tracking system provides almost a clear-cut, argument-proof type of system that once it's authenticated, there is no argument because it can be authenticated through a time-stamped system that a check was done, that this inmate was in this type of shape when it was done. And so that's why I'm really sold on the system. Now, we have interviewed, or actually got demonstration from 3 vendors. One was timekeeping systems, one was imaging systems, who we actually use right now for our photo imaging for our inmates, and the Guardian system. And the Guardian system seems to fit best with our system. We saw the last presentation was Guardian, and Danielle was at that presentation and believes that that would be the best for the county as far as us moving forward. Essentially, just to give you a brief overview, the Guardian system, how it works on a docking station type of system whereby the officers hold a handheld system that they would just basically, almost like the time clock system of old, where an officer or an employee of a business would go around to an area and time clock stamp to verify that they were actually at that particular position. This is just a step up with technology where that officer would check an inmate in a specific cell or inmates and hit the docking station of that particular cell, and then would record the information as far as the condition of the inmate if in fact they're on a wellness check or a security check. By Title 37, we're required to make sure all units are checked within a half hour, regardless of the inmate's classification, and that is either put on a daily log that's computerized right now, or via what we call isolation or segregation check sheets. This would do away with that. We would have a chronological order of exactly who was checked, why they were checked, the condition that they were checked, and this would tie into also to our computer system for other related departments to look at, like our medical department, which we're very excited about as far as getting real-time information to the people that need it, and not days later, so to speak, by word of mouth and or reviewing a check sheet. So based upon that, I'm recommending that the commissioners adopt the Guardian system. If you have any specific technical questions about it, that's why Danielle's here. I'm not the technical one. But if you want to ask any questions about the tracking system, I recommend that we move forward so we can take advantage of the funding stream that the County Commissioners Association of PA is providing. I think it's a good system. I think it's a great opportunity for Lebanon County to upgrade the existing system that we have. Yes.
I have a question. I know there are times we have to make sure that we have enough bandwidth or optic fiber. Are we going to have to install or upgrade our current incoming or outgoing fiber optic lines or anything like that in order to accommodate? I'm in favor of this. I just want to know if we're adding an expense for that.
It's already calculated in my budget figures for the upcoming year, because which we obviously haven't presented yet, but we've been working on this, so I accounted for that in the upcoming. So,
and can you give me an idea of what that additional cost is?
not off the top of my head, it's not gonna be a large expense. It's gonna fit into what we needed to do anyway.
You needed to do it anyway. I know that we would run out of bandwidth, so I was figuring something had to be in the works. Okay, that was my biggest question, is how are we gonna manage all that traffic on our lines? And when does this go into effect if we pass it today?
Well, if you pass it today, then what I do is based upon your decision to adopt it, you forward it to CCAP, because they already have this, they temporarily have reviewed it and are on board with it, but obviously the adoption and the move forward has to come from the county commission. So once they're notified that you have publicly approved it, they'll move forward, and then Guardian will present a proposed contract. Obviously, before we move forward on that, our solicitor will have an opportunity to review that, and then we'll move forward on it. So I guess my proposal is that you adopt it pending approval of CCAP and the review of our county solicitor, so we can implement this system.
So they haven't given you a 2 months or
No.
2 weeks kind of thing?
As long as the contract's signed before next May, we're in good shape.
Okay, so you're not rushing, you're just taking baby steps?
Today would be to accept the proposal, as you said, then there'd be a contract, and then they would run an implementation schedule.
Okay.
We're well ahead of what we're not up against it here. So
That's correct.
Once the contract is signed, then we're guaranteed the grant from.
Okay, Thank you.
I'll put forth the motion that we adopt the option of guardian.
And I'll second the motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second to accept the guardian system as presented by the warden. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Off
Thank
and
you.
running.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks, Danielle.
Hi.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you today? Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you for coming out this morning. Introductions, Michael, and move forward.
Okay, Mike Battistelli with Steve Nicholas. I'm going to get the review of the pension plan and update through the second quarter as well as the year-to-date number. And with me is Jeff Gavaday, who represents CSBT, which is one of the money managers. The report that I just gave to you, we'll go walk through that a little bit, kind of highlight some numbers. I know you guys are over time here with your agenda, but there are some things we do want to cover this morning. So page 1 shows the combined portfolio for the quarter. The pension plan in its entirety was up 2.10%. And year-to-date through the second quarter was up about 0.47%. You can see the lower portion under that, the pie chart represents the asset allocation at the end of the second quarter. Equity stood at just under 67%, of which about 5.5% was in the REITs, the Real Estate Investment Trust. Fixed income was around 29%, and the balance was in cash. All that fits within our investment policy that the board's come up with and been comfortable with. We're a little higher on the equity side. We're kind of at the upper range of the equity side, the lower range on the bond side. But with the way the markets are right now and rising interest rates, it probably is prudent just to kind of, it's within our range, and there's no need to make any changes. Also through the quarter, it's not listed out there, but during the quarter, the board made a contribution to the plan. So it shows a net contribution of $491,133. The year-to-date number through the second quarter were a net withdrawal of $1,770,661. Any questions on that? If you flip to the second last page at the top, that does list out all of your all the money managers in the portfolio. You do have a quarter performance number as well as a year-to-date number. So just read down these quickly. CS McKee, the equity portion for the quarter was up 1.13%. John Hancock Sovereign Dividend Performers was up 3.78 for the quarter. Asset Management was up 1.08. Nuveen Asset Management was up 4.21% for the quarter. Royce was up 2.94%. Uniplan was up 8.4%. WCA Washington Crossing Advisor was up 2.01%. CS McKee Fixed account was up 0.01%. Confluence was up 1.39%. And Lake Mason was up 5.51%. And at the end of the quarter, the balance was $123,856,581. And then I'll just give you a quick update. Of course, these are unaudited, but year-to-date numbers through yesterday. The balance now stands at $126,238,992. And that gives us a performance of a positive 3.23%.
For the year, or for the quarter?
That's for the year.
For the year.
Through yesterday, yeah. And that's unaudited, but
Understood.
as up-to-date information that we can provide you.
Thank you.
So are there any,
You said 126 million,
126 million
which is really good considering we're taking on, what, 700,000?
a month, right? Yeah, I mean, through yesterday, actually, the withdrawals were more like 2.5 million net. Any questions on the quarter numbers or year-to-date numbers? I guess one piece of old business, we have been in during one of your work sessions to discuss possibly adding a global equity strategy to the portfolio. And I guess I wanted to kind of circle back around and do a couple things. The benefit, I think, of adding a global strategy is it does diversify some of the risk within the portfolio. We were suggesting just a small portion would amount to about 2.5% of the portfolio. And we've chosen a global equity strategy versus a straight international strategy because that global manager or management does have the ability just to stay here in the U.S. if they feel like the U.S. is the best place to be, as opposed to an international manager would actually have to invest outside of the U.S. So I guess I'm looking for, based on our previous conversations, whether that's something that the pension board is interested in.
You know, the entire board votes on this, right, the pension board. So what's the feeling of the board? Motion, I think we should have a motion to enter into a global fund. And I have a second. Any discussion or comments?
I would like to just repeat, since it's for the record this time, my stand on this particular issue. And that is that I believe in protecting American jobs. And I'm comfortable with the current policy the way it is. I read in one of the documents that there's a preponderance of obligation and investments in U.S. Treasury, federal agencies, and U.S. government guaranteed obligations. I believe that we should be investing in the United States of America because the world market is unstable and we have no control over it. We do allow investing in foreign companies that have manufacturing in the United States. Bear is one local good neighbor, but I'm not comfortable with going outside of the United States when it comes to the investments. That's my personal philosophy.
Do you view this move as a risk to American workers?
No, I don't. I mean, some of the companies that are in their portfolio currently, and a lot of them, 54% is currently invested in US or Canadian companies. 28% is in Europe. So the lion's share are well-established companies, countries and companies. I don't think it's going to change the work environment per se.
So I get a clarification on the motion. Is it to change the policy to a 10%, up to 10%? Is that your recommendation? Mike?
Yeah, I brought along with me, I have a copy of the old, the current investment policy, I should say, but the only change I would add is under the equity position that we could invest up to 10%, no more than 10% in an equity strategy. What we're proposing is $3 million, which is 2.5%. And understanding what the board is and the history here with the board, I think we just kind of, frankly, just keeping our toes in that.
So the policy breakdown doesn't change. It allows for global investments in the equity portion of it. Fixed income stays the same, cash stays the same.
And real estate.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the global fund as presented indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 4 to 1.
There'll be some paperwork, and I'll just forward that over to you. One piece of new business, and I'm just bringing it to the attention of the board, it's not necessarily bad, but we received notification from John Hancock, which is the parent company of Sovereign, that the management team of the Sovereign dividend performers, which we do have in the portfolio, is actually leaving John Hancock as of November 1st. That happens from time to time in investment firms. It's not something that's unusual. The management team is going to another investment company by the name of Logan Capital, based in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area. Currently, Logan Capital is not approved on our platform at Stifel. We're trying to investigate, can we get them up to speed? Is there enough time to do the due diligence that we normally do on an investment firm? So it's possible we can maybe keep that strategy if that's the case. If not, we'll have to look for some alternatives with a similar strategy, because I think Sovereign definitely has a place. That rising dividend strategy definitely has a place in the portfolio. I think it's done well over the years. So we're working on doing due diligence. I just wanted the board to understand what's going on with John Hancock. I have some letters here that maybe explains it to you, and I'll do that with Jamie, but not to distribute. What we would like to do is maybe come back and have a work session and have more conversation when we've got some more due diligence completed sometime in the future, maybe the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. So if that's all for me, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff to kind of fill you in on what's going on with CSMT and give you a little bit more of a macro view on the markets.
Thanks very much, Mike. Thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to be here today. CS McKee, as you're undoubtedly aware, is a name that's been around in the Pennsylvania public pension fund market for a long time. Privileged to have worked with Lebanon County since 1984. So thank you very much for that confidence. The two strategies that we manage for the county are the U.S. large cap value equity portion, and we also manage U.S. investment grade only fixed income portion of the fund. There's a similar dynamic that's affecting both of these strategies in the market right now. One that you're probably aware of. Interest rates have been rising. You go to your local bank, they're starting to pay a little bit more on CDs. The rates that consumers pay on mortgages and auto loans is also creeping upward. And what that is, in the context of this fund and investments, is a transition. been through more than 3 decades of generally declining interest rates. We went the whole way back to Walter Fed in the 1980s. You could have gone to the local bank and purchased a CD that was yielding in excess of 15%. It'd be really nice to be able to do that today. I suspect Mike and I might be out of jobs if you put the whole pension fund in CDs earning 15%, the actuarial target is half of that. But the way that you generate returns in bonds, it comes from the coupon that you receive. It's a contractual obligation. You're lending money to a company or to a government, some type of entity. They pay you on a schedule that is contracted, usually with collateral. The other way that you can make money on bonds is if you buy a bond that, say, paid you 15% in the early 1980s, and then interest rates fall, so that new investors come to the market, maybe they can't get 15, maybe the market's only giving them 12 or 10 or 11. And so your bond that pays that higher rate is worth more. You paid 100 cents on the dollar for it, now it's worth 110 cents on the dollar. The opposite happens when interest rates rise. So I'll give you an example. The bottom for rates here in the United States was roughly 2 years ago, summer of 2016. You might remember that it was the time that Brexit happened. And so there was a real flight to safety. Investors wanted to load up on U.S. government securities because of the uncertainty created in the financial markets. At that time, 100 cents on the dollar, you could have purchased a U.S. Treasury that would have yielded you around 1.5%, maybe less. If you bought that bond for 100 cents on the dollar, you would have gotten 1.5% a year coupon over the last 2 years. But because the rates on the 10-year Treasury have gone from 1.5 to roughly 3, you would have lost 10% of the value of that bond on the books. It wouldn't be worth the 100 cents on the dollar you pay. It would only be worth 90 cents on the dollar. The longer a bond duration is, the more risk that you have to that. Just like if you have a 5-year CD and you're stuck with it for 5 years, the 1-year CD comes due and then you roll it into a higher yielding investment. So that's something that we've tried to incorporate into our management of the county retirement fund. We have shortened duration in your portfolio because we don't want you to be locked into low yielding bonds when we think rates are going to go higher over time. And I'll go through some of the numbers for you to get a little bit more context from it. When you turn to page 1 of the CSVP book, for the period ended June 30 of 2018, we were managing $49,400,040 million for the county retirement fund. Through yesterday's close, that amount was $49,923,144. Bond returns, if you look back 5 years, they were 2.03% annualized versus a benchmark return of 1.79. So the county's bonds would did outperform the benchmark. But in the nearer term window, those returns have fallen. You earned over the last 12 months just 0.01%, better than the benchmark, which was negative 0.32, but the bond returns were essentially flat. How did that happen if you were collecting those coupons? The answer is because rates went up, and so the paper value of those bonds is diminished as the Fed has been raising rates. We don't think that's a permanent condition. It's very rare to have negative returns in high-grade fixed income, but it could happen during transition periods like we're seeing now. What we expect is that the Fed will eventually stop raising rates, the interest rates will kind of stabilize, and then you'll be collecting straight coupon on these bonds again. So I just wanted to kind of explain that dynamic. The other piece of it is that bonds, we get the question often, well, bonds were basically 0% last year. Why do we need to acquire a portfolio? And it's a fair question because ultimately the retirement fund needs to generate a rate of return that satisfies its actuarial objective. The reason is because fixed income is not really intended to do the heavy lift on the the other thing is that it enables consultant Mike to make tactical reallocations from a stable piece of the fund. Fixed income is negatively correlated to other asset classes. We have a whole slew of research pieces and data analytics on the CSBT website that illustrate it. But when the S&P 500, when stocks are in decline, many other asset classes also go into decline. Real estate goes into decline, international equities go into decline, junk bonds go into decline. But investment grade fixed income moves in the opposite direction. And so it's a counterbalance to all of these other things that we have in the fund that are a little bit riskier but have higher return potential. So, we appreciate you and all investors sticking with us during this period of flat returns in fixed income. We are outperforming our peer group significantly in CSBT as well as business managing fixed income because of that. Equity is a much happier story. As you know, returns in the stock market, particularly the U.S. stock market, have been very good, really coming off the bottom of 2009. All pension plans nationally have benefited from the Federal Reserve's policy of stimulus from the actions taken by the Treasury Department. They put a floor under the U.S. markets to help revitalize the housing sector and also to give companies, particularly financial companies and banks, the opportunity to capitalize well. So we've had kind of this rocket fuel that's been lifting most of the stock market for quite a few years. In C.S. McKey's value equity portfolio, one of the things that we've always done is we focused on fundamental valuation. For your plan, for all the plans we work with, we're trying to buy stocks at a significant discount to market value. If the market is trading at 15 times earnings, we want to buy stocks that are trading at less than that with better earnings growth outlooks. With interest rates being forced to the floor by the Fed, it created a dilemma where many investors didn't want to be heavy in bonds. They wanted to find bond substitutes. And many of the bond substitutes that they looked to were high dividend stocks. Companies like Merck or Procter & Gamble or consumer staples type names or utility names which are heavily regulated. Nobody's going to expect Con Edison to become the next Facebook and grow earnings 60% a year. But a company like Con Edison does pay a 4 or 5% dividend, which is better than what the bond market was giving for most of this economic recovery period. That being said, those types of stocks in the value universe and firms that held a lot of those high dividend stocks, they performed better than C.S. McKey did through much of that window from 2011 through maybe 2016. But now as interest rates have gone up and bonds are starting to pay more interest than those dividend companies, the types of firms that we're focused on, the firms that have stronger earnings growth, firms that have less debt on their balance sheets are starting to outperform. And so over the last 2 years, the Russell 1000 Value Index, our benchmark, was up 11.06%. The C.S. McKey Large Cap Value Equity Strategy for Lebanon County was up 13.84, so roughly 2.8% better. Over the last year, the Russell 1000 Value Index is up 6.77%. The county's value equity portfolio with C.S. McKey is up 10.57%. So again, significantly stronger. And it's because many of the companies that are performing better now are companies that have less debt on the books. If you think about it, as interest rates move up, you have to roll a lot of your debt, just like a homeowner with an adjustable rate mortgage sees their payment click up as rates move up. A lot of these companies that have really just gorged themselves on this low interest debt, now they're kind of facing the other side of that equation. So we've tried to skew your portfolio in a way that better prepares it for this transition period, both in bonds, where we're shorter duration and rates are rising, less likely to affect the short bonds versus long bonds, And then also in equity, where we have companies with generally less debt than the market average, they're less likely to be impacted by higher borrowing costs. I'm happy to talk about the performance if you like. One of the things that I would note is that a few years ago, the county gave us some authority to shorten the duration of the bond portfolio. That has been a good decision. If we had kept in the prior duration, the return for that benchmark, Barclays aggregate, would have been negative 1.62% year to date versus the 0.75% that the county has done. So we've saved almost a full percent of return on that significant fixed income piece of the fund by being shorter duration. And it should continue to work that way until the cycle of rate increases moderates. At that point in time, we'll likely come back to you and to Mike and to advocate for lengthening the portfolio again once we feel that transition is I'm happy to talk a little bit about the economy if you like. We've also done some research on potential impact of tariffs and what that all could mean for the economy. I'll leave it to your discretion.
A few minutes, I think we probably all.
So tariffs have really, and we always try to think about the major themes that are driving the market within a window of a year or so. It's important to understand companies at the security level, but it's also important to understand the big macroeconomic overhang that's impacting all categories of investments more broadly. You might remember that January of this year was one of the best Januaries for U.S. stocks in roughly a century. February was one of the worst months for U.S. stocks in about a century. Why did that happen? The answer, because fears and uncertainty of the trade escalation. When people say trade war, one of the first reactions, I think, is to think back to the Great Depression. That was a trade war. And a lot of the data, what it shows is that when the smooth poly tariffs were put into place at the time of the Great Depression, that was a more than 60% across the board tariff on all imports coming into this country. Is that what we're talking about now? Nobody really knew in February exactly how this was going to proceed. And there was a lot of panic selling, investors trying to just make sense of it. We see it all the time where analysts, news comes out on a company or the Fed makes an announcement, and they immediately have to crunch the numbers to see if their projections for a stock or for a sector for next year are still good. So in February, there was just a lot of uncertainty, and it was about the trade. Where we're at right now is not across the board tariffs on all countries doing business with the United States. Where we're at right now is targeted tariffs on specific industries, aluminum, steel, and also targeted specifically towards China. Much of the world is unaffected in its dealings with the U.S. and vice versa by the trade talks that are happening. There was a piece done by Oppenheimer Research where they looked at two scenarios. The first was a mild trade escalation scenario, and another was a more severe. Under the mild scenario, they analyzed what would happen if we had a 10% across the board tariff on everything coming into the U.S. And it was reciprocal. And they determined that the likely impact would be a negative 0.8% hit to global GDP. Not good, not helpful, but certainly not triggering another Great Depression. The other scenario that they looked at would be a 20% across the board tariff. In that scenario, it's about 4% projected hit to global GDP. That's recessionary. That's a lot more significant. So those are kind of the things that I think everybody's trying to evaluate in the market right now. There's cautious optimism. Yeah. Stocks have recovered this year. In the key portfolio, as Mike noted, all of the other equity strategies, it's been a positive year for the plan. That's because people have crunched the numbers and kind of realized that, hey, in the case of the iPhone, will this trade escalation with China will make everybody's iPhone more expensive? If you look look at the supply chain for the iPhone, they have over 24 suppliers, and only a handful of them are in China. So if there is an impact on the Chinese side of it, the rest of the supply chain is largely unaffected. And I think it's kind of a good analogy for understanding where the conflict's at. So we're cautiously optimistic. It's still very much worth monitoring, but at this time, kind of the rule of the day is 5.4% nominal GDP growth in the U.S. year over year through mid-August. We have inflation still relatively mild, excluding energy and food. Inflation was at 2.4% year over year. Energy prices still remain manageable. Gas has been creeping up. It seems that a lot of the inventory glut has been diminished. The Henry Hub, if you're familiar with the huge storage facility in the central U.S., was at capacity a couple of years ago when OPEC was trying to flood out the shale producers, and they've more or less given up on that effort. The break-even cost for shale energy is too low for OPEC to try to force out the market, and so there's been a relenting. Inventories have come down, and conditions have started to tighten again. Probably in a way that's healthy. We don't want the energy sector to continue to be at war with itself and a healthy economy, but there's enough production that things are stable. So we have that. Unemployment's at 3.9%. Underemployment is higher, as we all know, but generally speaking, most folks who want to find work, or at least able to find part-time work, wage growth is about 2.5% year over year. So if those things remain intact and the trade doesn't escalate to that level where it becomes a recessionary phenomenon, we have cautious optimism that this bull market for equities and other risk assets will continue a while longer.
The table on page 8 is very interesting, where you analyze the 7 prior recessions in the last 50 years and what indicators led to them 12 months out.
Yeah, that's worth talking about too, I think. We're often asked for predictions in this industry. The truth of it is, nobody has a particularly great crystal ball. If I did, I'd get in less trouble with my wife, I'm sure. But there are certain indicators that are a little bit more likely of predicting a turn of economic events. And out of all of those, one of the most accurate by far is what they call the inverted yield curve. And what that means is that the short-term rates on bonds end up paying more than the long-term rates. It doesn't happen all that often. But what we have right now is a Fed that's raising the short-term end of the curve. And investors aren't seeing a lot of movement on the long end of the curve. There's still too much uncertainty about what's going to happen. There's been a lot of untested financial stimulus and monetary policy that's happened over the last decade. So there are still investors out there who feel that for them, the safety of a 30-year bond paying 3.1 or 3.2%, that still sounds mighty fine to them because they feel like maybe things could go south. And we're headed towards an inverted yield curve. And if you take any time Googling economic commentary from every investment firm under the sun, and I'm sure Stifel's economist is doing it just like C.S. McKee is, just like J.P. Morgan is, and like, we're all trying to figure out, well, if the yield curve inverts this time, is it going to be different than the other times where it predicted a recession? And you can try to come up with all sorts of different rationale. We have a much more severe economic decline, we have a much different approach to financial stimulus, or it's a more globalized economy now. But our conviction at C.S. McKee is that we're still probably in the later innings of an economic recovery. I was at a session at the CFA Society in Pittsburgh a month ago, and Jeff Mortimer, who's the chief economist for BNY Mellon, a cycle. And if you think of it as a clock, the clock only moves forward. Sometimes it ticks backwards slightly, but then it ultimately continues moving in the forward direction, and the cycle repeats. We're probably around 9 or 10 o'clock in the cycle. We've had a lot of stimulus. The Fed has gone from loosening, saying low rates for everybody, and we want to put some juice into the economy and the market, to now, I think the economy's pretty good. We're starting to take that away. We're starting to tighten it. And that's the clock advancing. Inflation is starting to creep up a little bit, and that's the clock advancing. When wage growth starts to get to the point where the labor market is tight, and that creates a pass-through of higher cost to consumers or employers, that's the clock advancing. And certainly if we have trade conflict, or other major geopolitical issues, that would advance the clock as well. So we do believe that, like I said, there's a lot of good in the economy. If you're going to write a script for good market returns, you want 3.9%. You want 5.4% on the GDP. The tax cuts that happened in 2017, they definitely gave the economy and the markets a shot in the arm. That's why we had such an incredible January. But this thing is kind of lingering in the background, and it has a very accurate track record of predicting the change in events. So, we would expect in the best case scenario, you get maybe 1 or 2 more years of relatively good, steady, maybe not spectacular equity returns. But our hope, and I think most of us, and Mike would probably agree here, is that you'll get to a point where your safe assets like your bonds are yielding enough, where rates come up enough that you're able to get, say, 4 or 5 on bonds, and then reallocate at the time that stocks go up. Right now, it's a little bit scary, because if you don't get good performance from your stocks, you're looking at bonds at basically 0%, and that's not very appealing for investors. So if we get to the point where those rates have normalized, they've stabilized, if that happens before the cycle is 12 o'clock and shifts, that's really the best case scenario. There are no further questions. I thank you very much for your time. Please feel free to reach out to Mike or to myself if you have questions about the
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
10:30, well, we're only half an hour behind attack.
Good things take time.
Yeah.
We try to go through this quickly and get you back on schedule.
Good luck.
Try my best. If you're ready for me.
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay, I'll introduce myself. I'm Kevin Trump. I'm the administrator of the Lebanon County Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities Early Intervention Program. And with me is Holly Heike.
And I'm the Director of Mental Health Services for Lebanon County Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities Early Intervention Program.
And we just have a few items today. Sort of 2 groupings of contracts. So one of them is kind of standalone because it is actually an extension of an existing contract. We had a contract with the Capital Area Behavioral Health Collaborative to use reinvestment dollars to implement a teleconferencing room for children who were at residential treatment facilities, or as we call them, RTFs. so that families and so on could communicate with them and be involved in their planning sessions. We pretty much implemented the room and the equipment, but after the contract expired at the end of July, we realized we just needed a couple more items and wanted to use the reinvestment dollars instead of $100. So we're looking just to have a 3-month extension to that contract. There's certainly no money involved from us. It just gives us the ability to tap into those remaining reinvestment dollars.
I'll make a motion to extend the
CABX.
yes, by a 90-day contract.
A second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to extend the contract as requested. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you very much. Jamie, I just want to see what you.
Okay.
And as you go there, that's. I'll move on to, we thought while we're going to be in here, we would just update our provider contracts and amend those that needed to be amended. We have a few stragglers from the fiscal year 17-18 year. There's a total of 10 contracts, and the net change in them is just under $5,000. It's $4,949. For just some of those categories where we had to increase units of service. That's the primary reason for the changes. I don't know if you want to look at them both years together or individually.
Second?
Motion and a second to amend the 17-18 contracts as requested. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you. And moving on to the current fiscal year, 2018-19, we have 3 contract amendments for a total of $70,972. The biggest one is $62,127, and that's with the Community Action Partnership for Crisis Intervention Services. We get funds through Health Choices called an alternative payment arrangement for an APA. We have to guess what that's going to be each year, and it was actually lower than expected, so we need to use different dollars to pay for that. So again, it's 3 contracts for a total of $7,972. We do have funds within our existing budget. We're not asking the commissioners for any more dollars to cover the expenses for these services.
I'll make a motion, but I'd like to clarify, I believe it's 70,000?
$70,972. That's the, I'm sorry.
That's all right, for the 3 contract amendments. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to amend the 18-19 contracts as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you very much. And finally, we're here to discuss Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month nationally, and we feel that's a very important event for us. We have a very active suicide prevention task force in Lebanon County that's doing great things. So we wanted to talk a little bit about suicide in general, the resources that are available, signs and symptoms and so on, and then I think Holly will discuss a little bit some of the many activities that the task force is doing right now. Nationally, more than 41,000 individuals die by suicide each year, which is just a phenomenal number of people who die this way. So it is a major concern nationally. It certainly is a major concern in Pennsylvania and locally. When we look at our own numbers here in Lebanon County, we are at we're just past the middle of the calendar year, and we are at the same rate as in 2017. During the year of 2017, we had 18 completed suicides. As we speak today, for 2018, we have 11
completed suicides. If we continue at that rate, I guess the good news would be that there would be no increase in the rate, that this point it would be the same as 2017. The bad news is, unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though it's decreasing at this point. Continue our efforts with the task force to try and get the awareness of signs and symptoms, what people can do, what resources are available to anyone who is considering suicide. But on one level, we're pleased that the rate is not increasing. We're seeing other counties in Pennsylvania and other states that the numbers keep going up.
Is there change in the profile?
I guess I would say the slight change in the profile would be the number of women. That has, I believe, the number of women, I believe, we have 3 out of our 11 being women. Again, total of 11 completed suicides. 8 of the 11, or 73%, roughly, are males, and 3 of them, roughly 27%, are females. The age it may be slightly go over at about 49 years of age as being the average. It's generally in the upper 40s or somewhere in the 50s. The youngest being a 12-year-old. That was the most devastating one for our county, and the oldest being 87 years old. So there's a broad range of ages in that group, which is generally much different than we see other years. Looking again at further statistics, 3 out of 10 are known to be veterans. 2 of them are from out of county. They had residences in other county. About 1/3 were married or had a significant other, and only about just less than 20% have a known mental health history, and that's in 18% was known to our agency. I believe it was the same individuals. There were 2 of them. Same number for drug and alcohol history is about 18%. 100% are Caucasians. We have other ethnicities and minorities this year. And the methodology employed, we have 82% by firearm and 2% by hand. So other than maybe the larger than usual number of females and the disparity among ages, those are probably the 2 biggest changes that we're seeing in Lebanon County. When we consider the basics of how to reduce suicides, again, the task force does a lot of sort of promotional activities and awareness programs and trainings and so on for various groups in the community. But we also would like to talk, when we have an opportunity to talk publicly about some of the warning signs. So if you have someone in your family or a coworker or a neighbor or a friend, things you might look for that would be red flags that they may be at risk. If they make threats or comments about killing themselves, is what we call suicidal ideation. And it can be seemingly harmless, or saying, I wish I wasn't here. Things can become more overt as time goes on, so you're looking for things like that. Increased use of alcohol or drugs beyond what is normal for that individual. Aggressive behavior is often a symptom. Social withdrawal from friends, family, and the community. Dramatic mood swings. Talking, writing, or thinking about death. Or impulsive or reckless behaviors. Those are some of the things that are commonly seen in people who are at risk for suicide. And for those who we may consider being in imminent danger, people are putting their affairs in order and giving away their possessions. You kind of read the handwriting suicides, and your son's very serious about it. And some of the risk factors for people with suicide. It's important to note that about more than half of people who die by suicide do not have a known mental health condition. They never been diagnosed. So someone who does have a known mental illness would be at greater risk. People who have a family history of suicide are at greater risk. Again, people that are using substances, whether it's alcohol or other drugs, people that have access to firearms. Again, when you combine some of these things, there's certainly a fear. When you look again at the number of deaths we have related to firearms, it's very high. If someone has a serious or chronic medical illness, that's also a trigger. I think the older individual we had did have some type of medical condition. You see that occasionally where someone has a very serious or chronic or terminal illness and they decide they don't want to go on. Again, gender, men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide. They have a history of trauma or abuse that certainly can put them at risk. Prolonged stress, isolation, and the age group generally is people under the age of 24, above the age of 65 are at higher risk. We don't see that in our statistics, but nationally that's a figure that's given. Someone who has also experienced a recent tragedy or loss, they're certainly at risk for suicide. And if they are agitated and experience sleep deprivation, those are concerns that one might have of looking at a loved one, a neighbor, or a coworker. We talked about where folks can go for help. Locally, they can call crisis intervention. They can get help. They can call 911. They can also call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255.
So they also get referred through 211 if they would call.
They would call 211 and exhibit signs or symptoms or be asking for help. They would refer them right into crisis intervention at that point. So there is a network out there locally and nationally to help people who may be at risk. And speaking again about what we should be observing as friends, loved ones, and co-workers, I also like to say, don't be afraid to talk about it. If you see something that concerns you, talk about it with that individual. Ask them if they need help. Ask them if they can get to medical help or psychiatric help. Because sometimes people think who cares and no one needs to talk about this or no, so a very serious concern. So it is important to talk about it among people who you may think are at risk and get them to take the steps needed to help they need to prevent another tragedy. Just to move on to what the task force does, Holly has a whole bunch of things going on there that she'd like to tell you about.
So as Kevin mentioned, our suicide prevention task force here in Lebanon County is very active. They are working all year long to provide trainings and classes and things to help individuals understand more what mental health means, what does that look like, and how can I best help individuals around me. So for the month of suicide, we have a lot happening, and I got some copies along for you. These are posters that have all of the events and classes and things that are happening. I'm going to note just a few, but before that, I do that, I want to note that this year, September, is really to continue our You Matter initiative. And You Matter is really important. It's that singular message that we're trying to get out into the community that you matter, we all matter, we are all very important. And just one individual lost to suicide is one too many and affects our community in a dramatic way. And so if there is a way that we can watch for those warning signs, that we can kind of watch what's happening around us, reach out to someone that you may see that is struggling, let them know that they are important, that they matter, and that there is help and hope, and there are people that really want won't go through each and every one, but I wanted to highlight just a few. So first for Monday, September 10th. Monday, September 10th is World Suicide Prevention Day. And on September 10th, we asked the community to light a candle at 8 o'clock p.m. on September 10th. And what that signifies is your support for individuals in our community that have lost a loved one to suicide, and then also in support for those individuals whose lives that we have already lost to suicide. And make sure everyone knows that we're in support. We are offering candles, and they're remembrance candles, so if anyone would like to remember someone, they're able to write that on the candle. These are available through our office. And you can go to our website to obtain more information about that. But also, oh yes, they are. They are battery powered. I have a little thing, but they are battery powered, so no chance of fire. Great note. We're also on Thursday, September 13th is Good Neighbor Trivia Night at the Mount Gretna Craft Brewery, and so that's a fundraiser for suicide prevention. The proceeds from that trivia night will go to all of the efforts that we provide here in Lebanon County during the year. And so if you have a chance to go out, it should be lots of fun. There's food from 4 to 9 p.m. and then the trivia actually runs from 7 to 9 p.m. Should be a lot of fun. And we'll have folks there to share information about suicide prevention and how to best help individuals. On Saturday, September 15th, we're partnering with the Lebanon YMCA to provide a You Matter Inside Out movie presentation. So that's going to be exciting. This will be a free movie and popcorn and drinks and a little presentation on You Matter. And so everyone is invited to come out for that. That's from 3 to 5:30 p.m. on September 15th. And then I do want to note on Thursday, September 27th, is our last event, and we kind of wrap up the month with the Remembrance Santa. And that is at the Nature Barn at Stavers Dam. And we do have a remembrance garden there that has individuals memorialized in papers. It's opportunity for family members, loved ones to come and share some moments just to remember their loved ones and to really unite in one and know that they're not alone, that they're part of a much bigger special group of individuals, and that they help one another through this. So during the month also we're doing another fundraiser, and this is kind of fun. We've done a t-shirt for that You Matter message, so it's nice and bright and cheery. It has our task force logo on it. On the back, this is You Matter. So no matter where you wear this t-shirt, you are going to be sending that message to everyone in the community that they matter. I think that's so important. The task force really wanted to thank the commissioners and thank you so much for all of your support that you give us all year long for suicide prevention and awareness and everything that happens. So Kat brought you a little gift bag. It's included in there is a t-shirt, it's one of the t-shirts, and also a candle. So we just have a huge thank you to you.
I'd just like to add that I saw a video recently, and your You Matter theme touched and reminded me of it, where a young woman who actually had thought about suicide herself one time started making little note cards, and I guess she might have wrapped them in plastic, whatever, and put them at bridges and different places where people would go and perhaps contemplate suicide. And they have actually credited her with saving 6 people's lives, and they know because somehow they expressed it and it got back to her, and the community gave her an award. So it's proven it works.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So good. This is a good program. I can see that.
Thank you. We can all turn together. This is something that we all have a part in, and we touch lives each and every day in a very amazing way, and have that ability to give a special message to someone. And it doesn't have to be, maybe it's just a smile, maybe it's just you're sharing, just a glance or something, just to let them know that you see them, you recognize them, they are important, and not
a short proclamation to recognize September as Suicide Prevention Month.
Yeah, I guess.
Whereas suicide dramatically affects the residents of Lebanon County, and whereas every effort must be made to reduce the rate of suicide among our citizens. Whereas Lebanon County supports community partners in their work to enhance mental wellness and recovery in our citizens. And whereas Lebanon County recognizes the efforts of the Lebanon County Suicide Prevention Task Force to prevent suicide by community-wide trainings and awareness efforts throughout the year, and especially during this month of September. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners that September is Suicide Prevention Month in Lebanon County.
Motion to adopt the
Second.
have a motion and a second to adopt the suicide prevention proclamation. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you very much. Again, we certainly appreciate the Commissioner's support in this endeavor and what we do all year round. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think I don't need one, that's kind of like a school bus, you know?
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Hello, dear. How are you? Not complaining, of course. All right, Dan, go ahead.
Okay, I have two disabled veteran exemption requests. I do have papers for you. One is Joseph Casale at 59 North Sheridan Road in Williamstown. And the other one is James A. Carter at 310 Mountain Drive. And they've qualified as far as the Department of Military and Veteran Affairs. Sent back when they qualified.
Also move to approve real estate tax exemption for the two that were presented today.
Second the motion.
I have a motion and a second to establish exemption from real estate tax for the two disabled veterans as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered, Dan.
And then I do have two regular tax exemption requests. We've been kind of waiting for a little while on some information from them. One is.
Dan,
That
we need
that
the
will be
assessment board.
the assessment board,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can call the assessment board then, in lieu of accepting it, I guess, do this now.
Okay, and we'll call the assessment board to order. Dan, would you like to present your,
Sorry about that.
that's all right, appeals?
We have two tax exemption requests. One is the Pennsylvania Breast Cancer Coalition, located at 2397 Quinton Road in Lebanon. And what they're asking for is a partial exemption because they do lease part of the building to Plains LPG Limited Corporation. So what we're suggesting here, and I talked with our solicitor about this, and he agrees, and I do have a letter from him. 149,000 would remain taxable, and 416,000 would go exempt.
So, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And the other one is Grace Life Church on 755 North State Route 934. part of their building was used for Yellow Breeches School, and that was taxable at this point. They have since moved out as of May 8th, so that the church is utilizing the whole facility.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And the last thing I have is the appeal that we had scheduled for this afternoon. Robert Rice at 1111 Guilford Street. He had appealed his property, had an assessed value of $205,300. Carl was out and reviewed this property with Mr. Rice and came up with a value of $178,300. He accepted that.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is that everything? Is there a motion to adjourn the assessments?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion adjourned. Thank you.
Reconvene the Board of Commissioners.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Hello, Jim.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's still
It's
morning.
still morning. It's late, but it's morning.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Jim Moultrie, Director of Children's Youth Services, and I just have two contracts to present for your approval. One would be for Northampton County Detention Services at a rate of $260 a day for fiscal year 18-19, and that reflects a $10 a day increase over fiscal year 17-18.
Second.
Motion and a second to change the Northampton Detention Center rate going forward. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
And the second one is for Central County Detention Facility. Their rate for fiscal year 18-19 is $270 a day, and that also reflects a $10 a day increase over fiscal year 17-18.
I'll make a motion to approve the Central County's Detention Center $10 increase.
Second the motion.
Have a motion and a second to change that contract as requested. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you very much. You folks have a wonderful day.
You too, Jim. Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, I should have hung on to it.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Jim.
Thank you very much. I do.
Morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Sue Christner, Deputy Director, Lebanon County Probation Services. I am here this morning to present the alcohol highway safety school instructor agreements for two individuals, Deborah Zachman and Richard Miller. Both have been instructors of the program for several years. However, a request was made by the County Controller's Office and also HR that we create a contract specific to the program and to those consultants. They did not exist previously. We contacted other counties and reviewed language in their contracts, which we utilize to establish and develop the Lebanon County contract. That contract was reviewed and approved by the county solicitor. The contract states specifically that the instructors are an independent contractor, not employee of the county, and as such are not covered by the county's workers' compensation
liability insurance. It also specifies the pay rate for the instructors, which was set by administrative order of Judge Tillwalk back in November of 2015. Our intention would be to utilize this contract moving forward for any and all instructors who would be added to the program in the future, and we're requesting your signature on those contracts.
So moved.
Second?
A motion and a second to approve the instructor's contract as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
A number of items to finish. First few items I have are property related. First one is an agreement of sale for a parcel of property, approximately 1 acre, that exists along the Lebanon Valley Rails Trail and was it's county property from back when the rail trail was acquired over in the area of the Expo Center. There's a separate parcel aside of the trail. You have for several years now been in a lease with Evergreen Secure Storage Incorporated. They have been leasing that same parcel at RV storage. It was added on to the existing RV storage business that they have there. And at this point, they're interested in buying that acre. John Wenger, the president of Lebanon Valley Rails and Trails, recommends this. They do not have any future use for that parcel. They are going to have a trailhead this is on the east side of the rail trail, right by the Evergreen Road overpass. You all know where it is. On the west side, there's going to be a trailhead as part of the North Cornwall Commons project. So he really does not foresee any future need for this, and would prefer or would formally request that any proceeds from the sale of this piece of property be able to be reinvested in rail trail projects. The lease that has existed for several years, those proceeds have gone to rail trail for the use as well. So this would be an agreement of sale for this 1 acre between the county and Evergreen Secure Storage Incorporated for $35,000 for this piece of property. And by way of mention, it was valued or appraised at a value of $30,000. So they're willing to pay a little more than market.
Make a motion to sell the piece of property from the rail trail to the Evergreen Secure Storage for $35,000.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the sale of that land for $35,000. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered.
Okay, the second item I have is an easement right-of-way and maintenance agreement. This relates to the property that the county owns in East Hanover Township, very close to Grantville, part of the county, the western part of the county, where we have a 911 tower existing on the top of the mountain, about 26 acres on the top of that mountain, where that tower is located. Access to it is off of Appalachian Drive, and the county owns the access going to essentially the road that goes, the tower road that goes up there. There are a number of property owners along that access who have been given right of way and easement to gain access to their properties. We do share maintenance on the cost of that snow removal and any snow that needs to be put down. One of the neighboring property owners is selling a parcel, one of 3 parcels that he owns, Douglas Prow, and as part of the ability to be able to sell that, he needs an easement right of way to that parcel. At this point, our assistant county solicitor has been involved with this and helping draft this easement, and speaking with Mr. Dowd and the staff of the DES downstairs, with no objection to this at all. It's really not going to impact any access to it. It's previous to the gate that keeps prevents lease for 2,800 square feet of land right along Cumberland Street in Lebanon City, across the street from the U-Haul facility on West Cumberland. And this portion of ground was acquired along again with the rail trail, going back to the rail trail, and a much larger piece that was going through the city that was acquired from the former rail company. And when you're on the north side of 422 or Cumberland Street, we only own 55 feet from the right-of-way line of the street inward toward the Norfolk Southern property. So there's a 55 by 60 square sort of parallelogram piece of property there. We're not going to do anything there in the future. There's no plans for the trail. The trail is actually going to intended to follow Chestnut Street to 22nd Street and over around the mall, and so there's not going to be any throughway through there. The property owner on both sides of this, which is Dwell America Holdings Incorporated, wishes to have a ground lease for $1 for this piece of property so that they can pass between their two properties without having to go out onto 422, jump out for 50 feet, jump back in again. We have no objection to that. In fact, it would serve to keeping the weeds down, and we're going to remove the existing pieces of track that are there, and just use it as a pass-through of possibly some parking in the future. So this ground lease was drafted between our solicitor and the counsel for Dwell America Holdings. I brought it up to you yesterday, and there was a question about specifying their responsibilities for weeds and property maintenance and so on. So since yesterday, we've inserted a clause here: tenants responsible for all maintenance, including landscaping, weeds, snow removal, etc. So that specifies that. So again, it's only 55 feet in from the road, 60 feet wide, 2,800 square feet for a $1 lease.
I think I did the last one, did
Also,
I? Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve that lease of the piece of land. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
And the reason for leasing it, and the reason that they're not interested in purchasing, or we're not interested in selling, is that in order to parcel that off, we would have to go through all the subdivision procedures to do so for that little piece of ground. So this way, it just isolates it on the other side of the street. There will still be access to that spur of the rail trail, which will eventually go to the Wanger Park, which is across from the Catholic school. So
I have seen people go from the sidewalk back through to Lebanon
Yeah,
Catholic, using
bridge.
that spur, it actually gets used.
Yeah, there's an improved bridge over the Hazel Dike and everything. So. All right, and then last item, somewhat relating to property here, is you're aware that the Clarence Shock Memorial Park at Governor Dick received a grant from the Department of Department of Conservation and Natural Resources to build an ADA accessible walkway and some restrooms at the park right by their environmental center. As part of the grant requirements, it must be proven that you're intending to maintain it in perpetuity, because they're investing this grant money in the construction of the walkway and boardwalk. The county is the trustee, not the property owner, but is the trustee to the Clarence Shock Memorial Park at Governor Dick. There is then a trustees board that you appoint, and essentially what I have here is a maintenance and operation agreement between the County of Lebanon and the Clarence Shock Memorial Park at Governor Dick Incorporated, and this is identical to the operation and maintenance agreement you have with Lebanon Valley Rails to Trails, whereby you own the property. In this case, you're trustee for the property, but the entity, the governing entity, will take responsibility for maintaining it. So if you enter into this agreement with the board there, then that'll satisfy the requirement for them to maintain the grant.
I'll make a motion to approve the maintenance and perpetuity agreement for the walkway at Governor Dick or Clarence Shock Memorial Park.
I have a motion and a second to approve that maintenance agreement. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Okay, I have 3 applications for county liquid fuel aid. First one being for Bethel Township. They would like to use their allocation for general maintenance for their 2018 program, and they have that as a project cost of $5,007, and their allocation is $5,007. For the next one is for East Hanover Township. They would like to use theirs toward line painting in the amount of $2,801, which is also the amount of their grant. And North Anvil Township also wants to use theirs for line painting in North Anvil Township roads. Total cost for their project is $16,110. Their allocation from liquid fuels would be $2,381.
Entertain a sweeping motion for those. Also moved.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve those liquid fuels allocations as read. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
I have a grant acceptance on behalf of the Lebanon Department of Emergency Services. They have been awarded $17,739.80 from the Hazardous Materials Response Fund. And we would like to use $6,250 of that toward the purchase of a Yamaha jet outboard motor for their rescue boat. And when the boat was originally purchased from the 2013-14 grant, the same grant, a motor was not purchased with it, so this will give them, they just simply have one that they're able to navigate by pole and oar. They would like to have the ability to navigate through some shallow water, lakes, rivers, creeks, rocky bottoms, and so on. That's why it's a jet motor. And then also for $3,956 of it would be used for a Draeger gas meter, $2,911.35 for a hazardous dust meter for toxic dust particles in the air, $4,622.45 purchase training aids and props to prepare for hazmat responses. All of this must be used for that type of activity.
I'll make a motion to purchase all of the items.
Just need to accept the grant.
Okay, to accept the grant, and to purchase the items, the $17,739.80.
I have a motion and a second to accept the grant as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
James, the Department of Emergency Services, I got two feedback items. One from North Cornwall thanking them for use of some equipment that they stepped up to allow for them to use, and also the fair with the generator. So they're very proactive in supporting the municipalities, and I've got some feedback.
The last item I have is a medical assistance transportation program contract agreement for 1819 for Lebanon Transit to provide services for eligible participants in that program to transport Lebanon Transit.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the medical transport agreement with Lebanon Transit. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.